Hey Vikings fans, Ben Leber here with Vikings Entertainment Network here at the beautiful TCO Studios. Well, it's Pick 6 time where you, the fans, will send us 6 questions and I will do my very best to answer these questions in the best way that I know how. So here we go. Question number 1 comes from Audrey and Marshall. How much does the combine matter in the draft evaluation process? Well, Audrey, it matters a lot. You know, it's one of those times where you see what you see in the course of the season where these college players are playing their 12, 13 games, and you think that you have the bead on what these guys are. But then you need to get to the combine to say, does the measurables match up? Does the speed match up? Does the movement and the body mechanics match up? And then most importantly, does the interview process and the character of these players match up to what you're building in your locker room? Because it's all about chemistry outside of what these guys can do physically. So to answer your question, it matters a lot. It matters a lot. Okay, question number 2. This one is from Bert in San Diego. I was just in San Diego, and it's my first team I played for, and absolutely love it. So thank you, Bert. What is the most important part of the combine for the teams? Well, I sort of alluded to that. It's the physical part of it. Yes, they want to see these guys move around and do all this other stuff, but they want to talk to them. They want to sit down face to face, eyeballs to eyeballs, and say, what type of person are you? We know the type of player we think you can be, but we want to know, are you a hard worker, and can we feel that? Are you going to be a good leader for our team? Are you a guy that's going to elevate the other guys around you? That's one of those things that you can figure out in all the question and answer period that you get with these guys and the one-on-one time you get. I would say that's the most important part of the NFL Combine. All right, question number 3 comes from Clark in Thief River Falls. Who are some of the current Vikings that we have right now that impressed at the Combine? Well, there's 2 that come to mind. I would say Garrett Bradbury and Brian O'Neill. And the reason I say those 2 guys, specifically Brian O'Neill, is these guys they didn't start off as offensive linemen. Bradbury, who started on defense, went to tight end, then went to center. And then you got Brian O'Neill, who was also a tight end, then they moved him to tackle. These guys are athletic guys, and you want to see that athleticism with your own eyes. How quick are they in their 40-yard dash in the first 10 yards? Do they have that explosiveness? When they're doing their jumps, when they're doing their 3-cone stuff. This is an offense that is built on athleticism. So naturally, you want to have athletic guys. All right, next question is Jason from Minnetonka. Jason asks, who are some players you're really excited about to see at the Combine? Well, Jason, I'm excited to see a lot of players, but in my role with college football, I get to see a lot of college football games on Saturdays, specifically in the Big Ten. Now, this may or may not make sense for the Minnesota Vikings, but Damon Arnett, cornerback from Ohio State, he doesn't get talked about as much, but that's okay. I love his tenacity. I love the fact that he plays bigger than what he is at only 6 foot, about 195. Maybe doesn't carry a big stature, but he's a hitter. He covers very well, and he carries a bravado and a swagger. You definitely know where Damon Arnett is on the field at all times. Next question, Brendan from Stillwater. What are the deepest positions in this draft? All right, I would think right now the deepest positions are wide receiver. If you look at a lot of these mock drafts, there's a lot of wide receivers taken off the board in the first round. A lot of cornerbacks taken off the board in the first round as well. And I also think it's kind of a sneaky good draft, I think, for quarterbacks as well. So I think those 3 positions are pretty deep right now in the 2020 NFL Draft. All right, last one. What can fans look for during drills to help understand a prospect's performance? Well, I sort of alluded to that in some of the other answers. I think anything that has to deal with explosiveness. This game is about explosion. You want to see how guys can get down in their stance, how they can drop their hips, how they can bend their knees when it's appropriate. You don't want to see a bunch of hip benders at any position, but you want to look for not necessarily the 40-yard dash, but what does that first 10 yards of the 40-yard dash look like? How explosive are they getting out of their stance? Then it comes to a 3-cone drill. How quickly can they move their feet back and forth? The shuttle, how quickly they can change direction. And even the broad jump. I know that sounds like an elementary school little game and test that they're doing, but the broad jump is a good measurable for overall explosiveness off of your feet. So those are some of the drills that I'll be looking for, and specifically when I talk about cornerbacks, I want to see how fast these guys can get in and out of the breaks and not have a bunch of gather steps, but they can go from point A to point B, specifically going backwards to forwards. So those are some of the things that I'll be looking for. Thank you guys so much. We're going to be covering the Combine all week long. Next week, you can check out all of our coverage at Vikings.com. And thank you for all that participated in this week's Pick 6. If you'd like to write in a question, go to Vikings.com/Pick 6, Vikings.com/Pick 6. We'll see you next time.